What's going on YouTube and cryptocurrency family? My name is Harry. I'm the crypto vet, and thank you for tuning back in. We got our video on XRP, my favorite cryptocurrency. I know I got a lot of questions on it, but we're going to go over something today, and we're going to kind of see where the market fits. I just did a video on Bitcoin, which will be posted first, and then I'll go ahead and link that to this one and vice versa, so that way you can kind of get both grips. And if you want me to start going over things like Ethereum and all that, I can. I just try to go over the things that I'm more invested in time-wise, so that way I feel like I have better information to offer. But like, if you guys want other videos, other cryptos, I've been answering the questions in the Discord, links in the description. I will take care of all that because I love doing this. And if you appreciate that, hit that like, hit the subscribe. This helps crypto in general. Just by liking the video and subscribing, you are making YouTube know that crypto is what people want to talk about and want to hear about. Thus, your bags are going to get pumped more. So let's go ahead and get started. CoinMarketCap. I just went over how Bitcoin is the only one here in the top 10 that is a little bit low, but it's not. It's just kind of consolidating, right? And we're starting to see some pumps in the altcoins here. So with these little pumps here, as long as Bitcoin can hold its shit at like 0%, maybe -1, -2, and doesn't take a pummel, we will have possibly a little mini alt season here where we can get some pumps. But I do say this with caution because there are some bearish technicals starting to show up, and if you want to hear about those, the link is in this video somewhere up here, and just to go over that real quick and that'll let you know kind of where we stand, because this is kind of a caution territory that we're in now. But let's go ahead and head over to Bitcoin or XRP here on the hourly. And we've had a couple patterns here, and I've been drawing these and extending them out because XRP, as well as a lot of the other altcoins, they'll form a triangle, and you'll think that you're in the breakout, and you'll start a trade like right here. Looks like we were having a breakout, and then boom, it just came up a little bit, but then found some more support, and then what it does is it just continues, right? So in this case right here, I could now start the drawing like this and extend, whoops. And we could extend this one out, and this could be the new triangle that we need to break out from before we come up. And we can also draw it in so many other ways, right? And as we're trying to do technical analysis, there's no right or wrong. There's just probabilities. When you typically see this, there's a higher chance that it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen the way you thought it was, it doesn't mean you were wrong. It just means that maybe you're in a pattern that's within a bigger pattern that's within So it just means that you are in a bigger pattern within a bigger pattern. Sorry about the dogs. So when you'll hear a lot of people say, when in doubt, you zoom out, right? So what we could do is we'll go ahead and just head to the 2 hour now. And we're zooming out, and we can start to see that, yeah, it's not that we were wrong, it's just that maybe there was a bigger pattern in play here. So now I can start going to the extremes. We went from wick to wick, and we know for sure that we are within this pattern now. All the lines I had before weren't technically wrong, it's just we've made one pattern and we've grown and expanded it, right? So whenever you start to see that things aren't really working out for you in TA, start to zoom out a little bit. So what we're at right now is we have this symmetrical triangle. We have found resistance along this trend line, and we've had good support along this trend line. You guys had fun?
No,
okay. Yeah. All right, so we have this support here down at the bottom. Now we can just say, well, if we break above this trend line, yeah, there's a chance that we could go up. And, of course, when you're trying to make a trade, I always say to wait for confirmation. So that would be a line. We come up, and then we come down, we find support on this trend line, and then we start to come up. Now, I usually don't start the trade until we are above whatever this point was, because what if we get rejected right here? You can play it risky and you can get in on the trade here, but make sure you put your stop loss at 0, right? Because if it comes up and gets rejected and then comes back down, well, now you just lost money, and look, it can come all the way down to here, then follow this, and then it breaks out, right? So, you don't want to ever get into the trade too early. So right now we are waiting to see what happens from here. Now, if we zoom out even more here, and I have this, let's go ahead and we're going to put it back on the hourly. We're going to zoom out a bunch. We're going to take off the RSI at the bottom, and let's get the VPVR off so we can just, see a little bit better. All right, so we have two moving averages here. This teal line here, this is the daily exponential moving average, which we talk about on Bitcoin all the time, and then this is the 20-week exponential moving average. Two very, very important moving averages. And if we zoom out, typically when the dark blue is on top, we're actually in a bearish sense, right? But right now we are in what looks like to be a reversal because we had the sell-off with the SEC news against XRP. Well, we're going to zoom out and we're just going to take a look at like what do we have before, right? If we came to here and I put this line right here and we take another line and we make our little triangle, right? So we can make a triangle or we can make a kind of a pennant pattern right here, right? Sorry, I was trying to figure out the word there. We saw that we bounced in between here, and I know this one isn't drawn perfectly. But look at how strong this was as resistance. All of these touches that we could not get over. And you see that this fib line here, the 0.618, had some good support there. And this trend-based fib is all the way back from where we were stable at around 23, 24 cents. Came up and had our big pump up to 80 cents. We had this same exact pattern right here to this point, forming right here, and then we had our first pump up to 50 cents and then our next one. And then we formed this giant consolidation pattern. And right here before Christmas, we had our breakout and our pump. This little pattern right here was our confirmation that we were in a bull run. Like this is where we were getting ready to confirm that we had broken out of this big pattern and that we were sure about it, and most likely we would have gone up to probably $1, which was the price target I had. But what happened? We had bad news right here, right? This bad news caused a fierce sell-off and everything went downhill, right? So now we're going to take this trend line and extend it out. Because if you zoom in too much and you're just looking at right here, well, you're like, okay, it's not that much, whatever. And if you're trying to make patterns right here, you didn't realize that the second we broke this trend line that we became bullish, right? And this is where I was able to make a breakout trade that I went over in the Discord, and that brought us all the way up to 38 cents. I did get out of it around 30 because I thought we would find some rejection here, but we plowed right through it. So that's so bullish, right? If we keep zooming back out here, oops, let me get rid of some of these lines and just go over. Oh my gosh. Let me just wait for the dogs, guys. All right, if we come back out, I swear, dogs. 1 second, guys. I'll try to edit this out of the video. If we come back here, we had this big trend line. We came up above it, the sell-off, came back, and look at the reversal. So when this sell-off came and we had the pump, I got out again around 37 to 38 cents because I knew that when we hit this, we would find rejection. And I know a lot of people were asking me about different charts that they had found on YouTube, specifically the Blockchain Backer, who is somebody I watch. I really like his TA. I definitely promote going and watching other ones because not everything I say is going to be right. There's other things that you might want to have perspective-wise, right? So, watch other ones and, make sure you do your research, and then by doing so, you're going to be a better trader, and then you can make the decisions on your own, because you may see something that I find, something that Blockchain Backer finds, something DIY investing, whoever, Credible Crypto, whoever you're following, and go, I think he's right, but I don't know, that CryptoVet guy did say that this could happen too, and then you make your own decision, right? So the biggest thing that they were talking about was the Wyckoff methods. So I'm going to go ahead and take these lines off, and let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to move this to 2 hours so we can see things better, and I'm going to remove the moving averages just because we know they're there, and move that line, and let's just look at where we're at here from the sell-off, and the sell-off being this area right here. Okay, now put this on, and I'm going to hide my camera just because we want to be able to go over this here. So the Wyckoff phases has, there's several different schematics, but I found that this one went over it the best. And it shows that we have a sell-off and we come down in waves. All right, we come over here and we zoom in. What do we see here? We had a sell-off and then we came down in waves, right? Now, we find strong support right here, and this is where retail buyers, or what they say is not smart money, but you know what I mean, you're watching this channel, so you're obviously some smart money, okay? So we find this and we have a pump up, and we find a new high, and we find again, and we have like another local high. So let's see what happened here, right? We came down, we found what we thought was the low, we pumped up, and we pumped up again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take these horizontal rays, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to put one right where that low was, and we're going to take another one and we're going to put it a little bit higher. Now what you can see here is, watch where this line is all the way across, and watch where this line is. Look at the support, resistance, support, resistance, support, and then indecision, but we broke through it and we came up. So if we go back to the Wyckoff method, we go over here and let's do the top lines. All right, let's come back here. We're going to go back to this. So our actual Fibonacci lines show that it's pretty good for this one, right? I'm still going to draw it on there anyway. And then we can come down a little bit and let's just do one there. So you could put it all the way up at this top, or you could put it right here. I did this one because after this sell-off, we had a line, and look at the confirmations that we are getting from where we're currently at right now. So let's change these colors just to make them a little bit easier. So we're going to do a red one. Let's do red on the top, and we'll just do some greens on the bottom. And this is just to help with visualization, because I know this can kind of be hard to see if you're not doing this all the time. All right, so now coming back to the Wyckoff method, we have all this stuff in between, and all these different letters are just acronyms for what they're calling like preliminary support, strong support, a control turn. They have low pressure spring or low volume springs, which is where we're at. So once we came up, we had our big sell-off, and then we create our low, our real low. And if we look, we came down, we thought we found support, we had our low that retail buyers thought, we came up, this is where everybody's excited, smart money said, nah, this is where we're dropping down. So we came down and we had our sell-off, and then we created our real low, which, if I actually put this correctly, is exactly where the bottom of the fib line is, and this also moves our other fib line to where we had our local high right at around 38 cents with a wick up to around almost 39. So we're selling off, and then we find our real low, which is the low that, in my opinion, that we found right at 17 cents. We've been bouncing around, we formed these beautiful W's, and we're coming up. But now the question is, where are we actually at in here? Are we at this point where we came up, or are we at this still consolidation? And during this consolidation, we can still see a drop down to where our first low was. And if we look back at that, that puts us at around 21 cents, or in this case, 25 cents. So now that we have these lines on here, I want to go back, and I'm going to make this dotted line on the fib line up to where the resistance was back when we were in the first consolidation. So right around there. And you can see that it goes all the way up from the top, and we're having that. It's not going to line up perfect, but we can tell that this was for sure, and that these could have just been little strong buys above it, but still immediate sell right after. All right, so now let's go down to here, and let's see where we're at. When we crossed this point, what happened? We came up, and we formed our symmetrical triangle that we're in right now. So the question is, are we right here where it's about to break out and go up, or are we forming our consolidation right here? Personally, I think we're going between phase C and phase D. And when you look at these different patterns, let me go up to the other one, you can have a couple different schematics that form. You can actually form a slightly lower low, but it's there very shortly because there's a huge wick that comes up, or you could just consolidate sideways. So I personally think that we are in the consolidation sideways, but we will still come back down to retest this line. And that is why I was stating that most likely, based on where the markets are and everything, that this will actually break to the downside. And I know that's not what people want to hear, but if we come back, we had it happen over here. We broke to the downside because people aren't sure. We still have a lot of fear in the market. Let me find a good place to put this, right? Came down, we kind of popped up, but we still spilled off to create that low. We've been creating sideways. We're having a pump up, but what would be the best thing to happen would be probably a similar action as before, because everybody's hyped up that this is going to go crazy, right? So if we follow what we have before, we have up, and then even if Bitcoin does the same thing, we have a little bit of a spill off, and then a wick to test this that gets bought up really fast, and then we start our triangle up and then go from there. So personally, I think that we are still in the Wyckoff method, and that this pump here isn't the true breakout. And the reason why is, look, right now we're struggling to get above the 34.70 mark. We have not gotten above the 37 to 38 cent mark, which is also a fib line, and we're still solid consolidating sideways, and we still have a lot of fear and uncertainty and doubt in the market, right? Here, starting next week, we are going to have exchanges delisting, and some of them just halting trading. So there's a big difference. One is taking it completely off the market, and the other one is just saying, now I'm going to wait till the SEC tells me what to do. So right now, people have two options. They can buy XRP and hold it, move it to cold storage, things like that. Also, they could sell it, right? Now, what if they bought in up here, right, and they've just been waiting to get close to the date, and there's going to be another sell-off, right? So if we have a pump right now from where we're at in this symmetrical triangle, we could get above our line and start the consolidation here that takes us off, right? But we could also have a dump that takes us down to 22, 23 cents, and it completely invalidates that we were ready to go up. And then from here, we would build up another pattern like this and complete the Wyckoff pattern. So I think we're definitely in a delicate time. If you're a long-term holder of XRP like I am, just sit tight, wait for this shit to play out, and I imagine everything will be just fine, because there's no way there's no way that XRP is a security, in my opinion. But who knows what is happening in the background? So proceed with caution. I would like to see a pump up from here, and then we continue on. But like right now, this chart is following very closely to what Bitcoin is doing, and we can see that here. Like, what were we at on this chart? We were on the hourly, so let's move to the hourly, and we can see that we're just up and down, up and down. And then right here, we're just going right alongside Bitcoin, trying to see what Bitcoin does. So now is the time that if a pump was to happen, it will. But if Bitcoin turns around and starts to go to the downside, we will continue down to the downside, in my opinion. So there's the explanation on the Wyckoff method, and where why I'm still not quite sold. Everything that we see here is saying like push it, push it, push it, but with how we entered this sell-off and how it's basically copying itself here, if we don't have a break above 37 and hold, we're not at the end. We're just in phase C still. If we can get above those resistances here, like see that now at this point we just have to get above 35, 34-ish, 34.7. If we get above that and hold, we could bounce in right here and then take off, which would show that we are getting close to this point. So got to get above 34, 35 before. If we don't, then I am definitely leaning more towards the bearish aspect. And if we were, just quickly, I'll just see if we can zoom in and see what this looks like. We also have that little head and shoulders that I was talking about with Bitcoin. Well, maybe not really. Still more consolidating to the upside. So, like I said, I think about 50-50 that we could go up. But if we don't get above 32.75, I would start shorting the shit out of it, personally. So that's going to do it for XRP. I am a long-term holder of this. But if we start to see some bad news here around 37, I'll probably sell about half of my holdings, personally, just because more likely to go down and I can just accumulate more. So this is not financial advice. I'm just a doctor/idiot, but I'll be streaming here in probably about an hour or so. So I'll catch you guys in the next video.